so I could make them jog for a short distance. Wearing an Argyle sweater today. I love Argyle. It's my favorite. Argyle says, I'm here to party, but I won't mess up your living room. It's a safe party, a good party. I did grow up in Portland my whole life. I love it here. I don't know if you guys know this about our fair city, but recently we were rated best drivers in the country. Yeah. What street were they driving on? Yeah, for real. That was my response. I was like, what street were they driving on? I think in Portland we have an unspoken motto when it comes to driving. It's, hey, I drive slow. And I'm going to make sure you do too. I'm as guilty of it as the next person. Sometimes I see a car coming up behind me, I just don't like its attitude. So what I do is I slow down and pace with the car next to me. Guy behind me's head explodes, I win. It's a fun game. You should try it. That's right, you have. We have so many slow driving a-holes in this town, they started riding bikes. That's what they do now. That's what happened. It's a dangerous part of town to be telling that joke. Actually, there are no bikes locked up right now, so they're all taking the streetcar. It's like a classy way for people with DUIs to get to work. It's a little bit nicer. I do like Portland. We're a progressive city, or at least we try. Like down the street, we have a Rosa Parks Avenue, which is nice. Except it's the only street in Portland that doesn't have a bus line attached to it. Real nice, Portland. Real smooth. We couldn't take a second to Wikipedia her first? No? All right, fine. It's embarrassing is what I'm saying. And I'll be honest, I'm kind of sensitive when it comes to race because growing up, I had a black stepdad. And there were kids in my school who used to pick on me, make fun of me for that. So I told my stepdad, and he sat me down and had me watch the entire series of Roots. It taught me a valuable lesson. That lesson? I can't watch Reading Rainbow without crying. Most of you got that. For those of you that didn't, allow me to explain. LeVar Burton hosted the kids show Reading Rainbow, got his big break on the series Roots, which is fine. But you have to understand, to an 8-year-old, that's going to mess with your kid brain. That's like finding out Barney got his big break on Schindler's List, you know? But what really made me mad is what LeVar did next. Star Trek: The Next Generation? You're not really getting on another ship full of white guys, are you? Yeah, last time they took your foot, now they took your eyes. It's not fair. He needs a new agent. That's the moral of that joke. New agent, LeVar Burton. I do love TV. I do a lot of jokes about TV, and I know that's not a popular thing to say in Portland, so I'll say it again. I love TV. Love it. Every inch of me loves TV. I don't even have a flat screen TV. No, my TV, 42 inches, 375 pounds. The tube in the back goes back 3.5 feet. It takes a minute and a half for the picture to even show up. And when it does, the entire room is a cool 98 degrees. Burn your TV, that's what I say. And what's the #1 complaint people have with TV? Commercials. How could you hate commercials? Commercials are the best part of TV. That's where they put the least amount of thought into it. Like I saw a commercial recently that said, shrimp so good, a shrimp would eat it. Who is this a selling point for? I'll tell you what, one time when I was a kid, I saw a chicken eat a piece of chicken, and my thought wasn't, man, that must be one wonderful piece of chicken. My thought was, someone get the zombie chicken before it takes over. Zombie chickens are very scary. You take their heads off, they keep running. That's just what they do. But, best commercial, Snapple. Snapple still says made from the best stuff on earth. Really, Snapple? Who you fooling? I get it during like the 80s when you were going up against Kool-Aid and Coca-Cola. Sure, you were made from the best stuff on earth. But this is a new millennium, the age of organics. You can't pull that anymore. Now, I'm not saying get rid of the old slogan. I'm just saying revise it. Snapple, made from stuff on earth. You can find it somewhere. It's down there. I recently had a birthday, turned 29 years old. That's right, getting old. That's right. It's not old. But it is a turning point in your life. Like it is now, every time I have lunch with my mom or meet up with my mom, The conversation eventually turns into, so when am I going to have some grandbabies? I don't know, Mom. And I got to be honest, she's getting kind of insulting about it. Like, she'll say things to me like, you know, Gabe, my biggest regret in life, not having more kids. Which is fine to say to anyone, aside from your only child. It hurts a little bit. It doesn't feel good. And she's like a 10-year-old that wants her first pet, you know? A kid's list thing. She's like, here's why I'd be the best grandma on earth. I would take the baby to the park, I would buy food, clothes, we'd be friends forever. But we all know what would happen. She would take care of that baby for 1, maybe 2 weeks. Then whose responsibility is that baby going to be? This guy's. It's not fair. I didn't ask for the baby, I got it for her. And if she's not going to take care of her responsibility, I'm not going to think twice about it. I'll take that baby straight to the pound. That's right, the baby pound. Some of you might be saying, well, that doesn't exist. Fine, a cardboard box outside of a grocery store that says free to a good home. Don't worry, it's not a real baby. And I'm actually single. What? Not the guy who would leave a baby out. Hello. Are you going to heckle me?
No, I think you're funny.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
By the way,
Yep.
cooked with hot wing sauce.
Cooked with
That
hot.
tastes just like chicken.
Oh, he said cooked with hot wing sauce and cats taste just like chicken. I actually just got my first cat, speaking of me being single. What? A cat. I love my cat. But cats, they're kind of like the teenagers of animals, you know? Like, they're always so, like, docile and calm when they're around you, but then late at night, you hear what they're really up to. A lot of fighting. They come back, they're missing some hair, and they just act like nothing happened. They won't tell you anything. And cats won't just come to you, not like a dog. Like, a cat will not come back to you until you have completely and utterly humiliated yourself. You know, like, you'll be trying to get the cat in, and you'll be like, hey, come on, Mittens, come on in. Mittens. Because you want to start talking like the cat. You're like, maybe it'll understand. And then finally, when you're just like, Kitty, please, please, for the love of God. And you go to close the door, the cat just comes running in. That's where the cat is. But you got to let the cats out. You can't keep the cat indoors. If you have a house cat, you end up getting this weird hybrid cat thing. It's like the homeschool kid of cats. You know, you can tell when you try to play with them. They just don't know what to do. You get a laser pen out and they're just frightened of it. You can't have a house cat. But I did learn irony through a cat. When I was a kid, my mom had this friend who had a mean cat named Popeye. This cat was awful. Every time I would try to pet it, it would try to scratch me. It wasn't a friendly cat. And she would say, well, you're petting it too rough. No, I'm not. It's not even letting me pet it. It's just being rude. So one day we're over at my mom's friend's house and we hear a cat fight going on outside. She opens the door and Popeye comes running in. Popeye had been in a fight. Well, the cat during this fight scratched Popeye's eye and they had to end up taking it out and sewing the eye shut, making Popeye the cat a one-eyed cat. At that moment, I truly understood irony. And then they made the cat an indoor cat and I could pet its belly all I wanted. It just took it. That's what you got to do to break a cat. But I'm not just a cat person. Like, I would like a dog, but I'm a comedian, so like I'm gone a lot, so I couldn't really give the dog the attention it deserves. So sometimes I actually think in my mind, like, I wish I could get married just so I could have a dog. That's it. It's not someone to share my life with, just someone who can walk the dog when I'm out of town is what I would like. But I have a hard time dating. I can generally tell the women I can date by the cars they drive. You know, like German engineering, out of my league. Anything made past 2006, not in this decade. 96 Jeep Cherokee with the headlight out? Why, hello. Is that your radiator thumping or just my heart? I don't know. That joke's not very funny, but what is funny is the story behind it. When I first wrote it, it was, is that your carburetor thumping or just my heart? And a guy in Butte, Montana came up to me after a show and he goes, hey, carburetors don't thump. Which threw me into a panic because I'm like, I don't know what else is in the car. The window? Could it be a window? So what I did is I called up a mechanic and I go, yeah, my car is making a thumping sound. underneath the hood. I was wondering what that could be. And he was like, oh, that's your radiator. And I go, click. I just hung up because I had nowhere to go after that. But if your car says something about you, what does my car say about me? I drive a Kia. That's right. That's a no money down way of telling the world, I give up. I just don't want to try anymore. They're like the sweatpants of cars. You know, you see people in them and you're like, how could they live like that? But then you try them on and 4 years later you're like, how did I get here? It's so comfy. So comfy. I don't know though. I you know, back to the kid thing, like, I don't even know, like, you guys are so brave for having kids because I'm terrified of the future. You know, I don't know if you guys realize this, but we're no more than 10 years away from our first Generation X president. Can you imagine that? It's just going to be like some dude named Brandon or something. Just President Brandon chilling at the White House. That's what he does. His vice president just goes by the name Nugs. Like, what? Brandon Nugs ticket? And he'd be ambivalent about the job. You know, you'd be like, President Brandon, what are we going to do about the economy? It's like, hey, I didn't ask for this job. You guys elected me. And he just runs off. My generation won't be any better. Generation Y, which, by the way, Y is the perfect letter to describe my generation. The sometime vowel. The letter that every once in a while can get itself together enough to hold a word on its own, but then most of the time just hangs out with the other lazy consonants, you know. But our president will be the worst because they'll be overqualified for the job and still suck at it. They'll be in office for 1 year before they move back in with their parents. It'll be the first president where the first mom plays a vital role in decision making. You know, like if the economy's going down, I can see the speech now, just like, my fellow Americans, I know our deficit is higher than ever, but I just want you to know that I've talked to my mom, and she said that if we're all cool, she would co-sign, all right? Yeah, we're going to have to do some yard work, but this is what we have to do to get things done. Thank you, my fellow Americans. All right, you guys, that's been my time. I'm Gabe Dinger. Come out to Helium Comedy Club. We do shows Thursday through Saturday. There's open mic every Tuesday that's free to come check out, where you can see some of Portland's funniest people work out new material and try to be as funny as we can be. Thank you guys so much for sitting here and watching, because it would have been so much more difficult without you guys. So thank you so much. We have a booth right over there if you guys want 2-for-1 flyers and email lists and all that fun stuff. Thank you.